Hi, you guys. We're going to be doing a mudra today. In case you can't see me when I get to that point, the index finger is going to curl in towards the thumb like that. The two middle fingers are going to come to the thumb and the pinky finger will extend. This is the Apanasana mudra that we'll be doing today. All right. All right. Namaste. Thank you guys for showing up. I was at your place yesterday.
Which one?
Buckboard. No.
Buckhead or
Buckhead. I took the kids down for my son had orientation for high school. He's got it sweet. But afterwards we went down to Columbia and went to your place. I had the salmon bagel sandwich. It was so good.
What's your place? I have a wine bar called Buck and Board, and then a coffee house called Buckhead Coffee House.
Okay. Yeah, it was so good. Gabe had the BLT, and then Ella had the yogurt parfait, I think. Anyway. And then we took a lot of treats home. We got the chest bars. I think we still got your chest bars. Anyway, well, welcome. Glad you're here. Today's subject matter is concerning worry. Worry and excessive worry, which is anxiety. So anxiety is the excessive or intense type of worry. And we all succumb to worry at some point in time. And there's been a lot of worry and anxiety around what we're going through now. But even if we didn't have this pandemic to deal with, we would still find something to worry about. I think it's in just our human nature to find things to worry about. So as a mom, you can't help but to worry about your child and decisions they're making and what they're doing. And I know that even though Gabe has been in online school for a year and a half, he's about to start high school, he's starting a new school, he's doing orientation this week. And I took him to his orientation yesterday. He was so nervous. He was like, Mom, I'm so nervous. And I'm like, well, of course you are. And you should be. Like, you're nervous before every school you go into. You're nervous every year when you go back. And you've had a year and a half away from that structure and away from, kids your age. And he said, I think I can only talk to adults. I'm like, it'll come back, And so I really wasn't worried about him, even though he was dealing with some of his own worries and concerns about it. But what I got a little bit more worried about was the fact that he came to me and he was like, Mom, you told me when I got into high school, I could get social media. And I really don't want him to have social media because if you look at the statistics concerning young people, in general, social media can become addictive to people and it can lead to anxiety and depression amongst the general population. But the anxiety and the depression soars with preteens and teens that are on social media. So, I've talked to him about all this. I made him watch a documentary about all that data concerning social media, but I also had to stick with my word. And it wasn't just sticking with my word, but he was like, I want to keep up with my friends in Franklin because now we're in Nashville and he's going to a whole different school. I thought I can't deprive him from that. He needs to have some connection with peers his age. So I let him get one social media. I had to choose one, so I chose one. But even that can be a little worrisome because what's he going to see on there? Are there predators on there? You think about all the worry things, but this is what I have to remind myself, and this is what hopefully you're reminding yourself with whatever you're worried about. Worry is a waste of time. Worry is creating stress. Worry can lead to anxiety, and worry drains us mentally and physically. It can be draining. It can be fatiguing. So we need to watch what our heads are doing. I listened to this little podcast from Sadhguru, Sadhguru is someone who's a yogic, he's a mystic, he sets up these ashrams around the country and in other countries. He has some in India, he has some in Europe, he has some here in the States, there's one in Detroit, there's one down the street in McMinnville, Tennessee. But he said, when you're caught up in worry, then your mind is out of control. And as a yogi, what are we supposed to do to get our mind back under control? Breathe and meditate. Breathe and meditate to get the mind back under control so your mind's not out of control, spinning those wheels of worry. So that's what we're going to try to do today. Wash away some worry, which kind of ties into what we did earlier this week, because it was about wringing things out. We really worked on twist. So you can look at it as an extension of what we did earlier this week. We are going to actually start on our backs. You may want a blanket to pad up underneath your head. And we're going to start with both hands residing on the abdomen. So once you get reclined and get your body comfortable and supported, close your eyes and begin to do some belly breathing. So when you're doing belly breaths, you're trying to allow the belly to be soft enough so it can expand and balloon as you breathe in, and so that it can relax and deflate as you breathe out. Continue to breathe in and out through the nose. Using your hands for that informational to touch, to notice the bellowing effect here in the belly. Now that you've been creating this movement in your core, slide your left hand to your heart or your chest. And I want you to do some chest breathing. Let your chest rise on the inhale and let your chest fall in on the exhale. Let your elbows slip away to the floor so your upper arms can relax. And then slide your left hand a little higher towards your upper chest, closer to your collarbones. And notice how that area also expands on the inhale. And softens on the exhale. So we've been focused on 3 different sections of the upper body. And when we can put all of this together, it's called the 3-part yogic breath. So now try to surf the wave of the breath, allowing it to move into the belly first, into the chest second, and into the collarbones third. And then as you exhale, watch it flow down from the collarbones to the chest to the belly. Wave rolling up on the inhale and the wave rolling down on the exhale. Gently remove the hands away from the upper body. Bend the knees. Tuck them in, grabbing the shins with your arms a moment. Coming into Apanasana, the wind release pose. Affirming as you hold, I reduce all my scattered forces and worry to rise up and away into the sky. I reduce all my scattered forces as well as any worry and allow it to rise up and away into the sky. Now turn over to one side of your body. And once you turn over to one side of your body, move the cross away from your mat when you come to sit. And then we'll come to stand to begin our practice once you have everything cleared. When you come to stand on your mat, have your feet parallel with each other. We're going to be bending the knees, and as you bend your knees, you're going to flex your right hand. You're going to take that right arm and sweep it up towards the ceiling. Follow your gaze with the hand, hasta drishti, and as you exhale, backstroke and swoop it down towards the floor. So the arms lifting on the inhale, circling back and down on the exhale. So keeping the eye focused on your hand is a good way to practice some mindfulness, to lessen distractions. We're trying to open up the range of motion in the shoulder, but we're also getting in a little bit of a twist as well. One more. Come back to center, flex your left hand, the knees are slightly bent, arm reaches up, backstroke the arm and sweep it down and around. So it might be a good reminder to review Yoga Sutra 1.2. And it's Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. Yoga is the neutralization of the fluctuations of the mind. Yoga is the neutralization of any agitations in the mind and body. Yoga is the neutralization of the whirlpools of emotion. Do one more. Come back to center. Separate your feet a little bit wider than hip distance. Bend your knees. Keep your arms loose. And just twist side to side. You're gonna have a little bounce in the middle. And remember, we mentioned all the benefits of the twisting earlier this week. All I'm gonna say right now is it does allow the energy to rise up higher, more to the brain. And you'll notice that when we stop the swishing back and forth from side to side. So come to stand still with your palms facing forward and out, and the eyelids gently closed. And if you feel like you're slightly like vibrating or tipsy, keep your eyelids heavy and gaze out beyond you on one sedentary spot. Let that even out. And separate your feet now wider than hip distance. Generally speaking, I like the distance of the sticky mat, toes pointed away. We're going to come down towards a squat. And if squat doesn't work well for your knees, you can have the feet parallel instead and do bear pose. And this is bear pose when I'm demonstrating. So bear or squat, but the squat gets into the hips more. And then we're going to go back and forth between this variation of squat or bear and a wide stance Uttanasana. So don't think the hands have to stay grounded on the floor. They can come up away from the floor as you straighten out your hamstrings. Bend the knees, coming back towards the squats. We're not going to hold it terribly long, just a couple breaths. Remember, bear pose is a good alternative. And then straighten the legs wide, stand to Uttanasana. Let's do one more of those, coming into a squat. Wide stand to Uttanasana. This time turn your feet so they're parallel with each other. In other words, toes point down the mat. Let your lumbar area reduce any compression as you hang here. Maybe magnetizing the head and the heart a little lower towards your knees or shins. But affirming as you hold, nothing and no one on this earth can pull me down or back. Not even worry. Remember, our intention is to try to banish some of the worrisome thoughts that plague us. Now, on your next inhale, let's go ahead and begin to heel toe the feet towards each other. So you're lining up in Uttanasana. As you inhale, come to chair pose, Uttanasana. And as we exhale, we're going to breathe out, create a parallel line with your torso and sweep the arms back behind. And then we'll inhale, come up. Exhale it out. 3 more, inhale up. Exhale down. 2 more. Last one. Now release the hands back down towards the feet. Slowly start to straighten out through the legs. Depending on where you are on your mat, you may have to crawl the hands forward or walk the feet back, but we're coming down to the ground either way. So just take your time, coming down. And we're going to bring the feet out in front and the soles of the feet together to Apanasana. So on Wednesdays, we're doing gentle / restorative. And I want to be a little bit more restorative today because with the idea of us doing worry, I want you to think no hurry, no worry with your restorative, okay? So open out the feet like a book. We did a more active practice in the last class with warrior poses. And I don't want to do all that to you guys. As you inhale, lift up to the crown of your head. And as you exhale, fold down. So the trunk is coming out over the feet. And then wherever you feel the catch in your hips or inner thighs, take pause. Be there. And breathe into those spaces and grooves. Affirming here as you hold, secure myself, I accept whatever is. So last week, what made me think to do this practice today was not just noticing some of the worry that's been coming up with me as a mother. Even yesterday when I took the kids on a hike, Ella was kicking around in the creek and she was splashing Gabriel in the water and she got a severe cut on the bottom of her foot. And we still had to hike all the way back up to the car. And now she was injured. So I had to leave the kids alone on the trail and go back up to the car to get some napkins with a Band-Aid and kind of, fix her up before she could take that final hike. There's all sorts of things that can be disrupting our mind. But what made me think to do this thing was actually last week when I mentioned when we were holding warrior poses that as teachers, we used to say, be a warrior, not a worrier. And that same day that I told you guys that, I saw this post and it said, a wise man once said, worrying does not take away tomorrow's trouble, but it does take away today's peace. So let's wash the worry away and invite the peace back in. On your next inhalation, gently begin to back your way up. And then we're gonna lift the knees and separate the feet wide. We're gonna do a seated cat-cow. So on the inhale, we're driving the heart through the knees, opening up the throat, and the shoulders crank back. As we exhale, the tailbone tucks under, the belly scoots in, the arms straighten out, the chin tucks to the chest. And then we're just gonna move back and forth between the seated cow, and then reversing that to the seated cat stretch. The next time you inhale, come up, we're gonna slip the hands underneath the knees, slide them through. This is Karmasana Tortoise. You have the option just to bow your head. You also have the option to flex the feet and to let your heels slide out and away so that you're working more into the backside of your legs. Either way, it's not really the full intention to stretch out the back of the legs, even though, yes, we can in this variation. The idea is to round the back, to close the eyes, and to be reflective within. So in these moments of introspection, just consider how that statement, worry is a waste of time, is a true statement. We're worried about something that hasn't even happened yet. I've also heard this quote, worry is worshiping the problem or the projection of a potential problem. So every time you breathe in, breathe a sense of peace into yourself. And every time you breathe out, visualize you're sending out with that any and all worry. Slide your hands back closer to center, and then you can press through the hands to lift your way up. We're going to do one more active pose, and then we're going to start to restore. So we're going to slide the left leg out in front. The right knee will open out, but connected to the inner thigh, Janu Shirshasana. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, dive over the straight leg, turning that navel over towards the center of the thigh. Gazing out towards the toes, unless that's not good for your neck. And in that situation, you can look down towards your shin. Firming here as you hold left and right and all around. Life's harmonies are mine. Lift your right knee, straighten out that leg. Bend your left and fan open from the hip. Reach the arms up on the in-breath, flex that foot, and then exhale, dive over. Adding in that little rotation from the navel to turn it towards the straight leg. Heart shining out towards the foot. See if you can create even breaths. Next inhale, let's back that. Find your bolster. Take it behind you on the mat, turn to your right side. Now, as you can see, my knees are kind of staggered here. Some people like to double stack them. That's not always comfortable for me, but you can certainly do that. You can also pad a blanket in between if you need extra support. But we're gonna inhale, elongate the spine. We're gonna start to twist and turn towards the prop. Walk the hands beside it and lower down to one cheek. Your left cheek will be a little bit deeper. Your right cheek will be more gentle. If you have a towel, it's nice to put the towel underneath the face. And if you'd like one, just give me a wave and I'll bring you one. Do you like one?
My backwards.
Yes. Yes, like that. Mhm. You got it. Nestle down and into your props. And this is where we're going to practice some mindfulness or mindful meditation. Because meditation is not necessarily about deleting everything in the mind or making the mind crystal clear, even though that does come in with disciplined and well-practiced meditation. Right now, we're just observing. So mindfulness is basically just being present in the moment and noticing things as they arise, whether it's a thought, a feeling, or a sensation. The mindfulness practice is to notice what that is, but it's also to continue to notice what the next thing is and what the next thing is, because it's in the mindfulness that we can determine how we've been programmed, how we've been conditioned, and if we do have worry, probing our minds. And if that's the case, we can start to utilize the breath or a meditation technique to quiet the mind. So you can simply observe mindfulness. You can add in breath work to wash anything away. And you can even use a mantra or affirmation on repeat as a technique. your mind, body, permission to take rest, to stop worrying, and to be patient as things get processed and as things unfold. Slide the hands in. Press down to the palms. Pads away from the top, and we'll turn the body. If you have something between the knees, you can bring it with you. Otherwise, inhale, lift up. Exhale, start to wind your way around. Turning to rest on the opposite cheek than you did before. Unless it's too much. And for when anything is too much, just do less. Bring to practice mindfulness, staying in the present moment, observing what surfaces, but without attachment. mind starts to race, even bring in that mantra, no hurry, no worry. Put your hands closer towards you, press your palms. Slowly come up. You can keep your bolster as is. You're gonna spin to face the front of the room. And you're gonna lower it into a heart opening pose. If your low back is a little achy in this position, if you fold your blanket and sit on it first, it helps to alleviate that. If you need more padding for your head, you can put a blanket underneath your neck. If you feel like you need more warmth, you can cover your body. Since our theme is about worry today, I'm going to share with you a Benjamin Franklin quote. Benjamin Franklin once said, "Do not anticipate trouble or worry about what may never even happen. Choose to stay in the sunlight." Do not anticipate trouble or worry about what may never even happen. Stay in the sunlight. Now that you're opening your abdominal region, the place of the indwelling sun, imagine a burst of sunlight inside of your stomach, sending its light rays throughout your entire being. Imagine your sunlight greeting the outer sunlight. The outer sunlight coming in to meet your eternal sunlight. And stay in the light. you would like to bring an additional hip opening to this position, bend your left knee and fan open from the hip. If this knee or hip needs more support, your block can tuck up underneath. Lift your left knee, slide that leg forward, and if you want the hip opening to the other side, bend your right knee. Fan open from the hip. Choosing to prop or not. flow of your breath. If you were lying with the hip open, go ahead and really lift that knee. Slowly start to maneuver out of our position. I would suggest bending the knees, rocking them side to side. We're going to come up and sit for a moment in silence together. And I'm going to teach you a mudra that I haven't taught you before. It's called the Apanasana mudra. If you look at that word apan, it comes from apana, which is the grounding or downward flow of energy. It's supposed to really help to relieve worry, anxiety, and it helps to regulate the heart. So we take the index finger and we curl it in to the base of the thumb. It kind of looks like a snail when you see it from the side. The two middle fingers are going to join the thumb at the tip, and then the pinky finger extends. So this is the Apanasana mudra. Now, some days my thumbs are either inflamed or arthritic, I don't know which, and they don't want to operate this way, so just leave it out if it hurts. But we're going to rest the mudras on our lap. We'll sit up nice and tall. Just meditate together with the mudra, this mantra of Om in the background. Observing the in and the outflow of the breath. As we depart here today, remember, no hurry, no worry. Let's place our hands now together to Anjali Mudra, where the fingers can now unfurl and extend and press together. Let the thumbs kind of wiggle into the breastbone. May we all walk away from this practice being free and at peace by anything out of our control, anything imposed upon us by another, or any projections of our own. Oh, peace, peace, peace. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thanks, you guys.